Hey, what's up guys, Riley G here. For today's video is going to be a different one. It's going to be addressing some of the Booktok drama that's been going on right now. There's a girl that made a video calling Booktok bitches and saying about anti-intellectualism and the stuff that's on Kindle Unlimited and how some of the books are written really poorly and things like that. So if you guys haven't seen the video, I'll try to post like a link or something, or maybe I can put the video into this video for you guys to see it.
I do not trust you little bitches on Booktok and your stupid Kindle Unlimited book recommendations talking about this is 5 stars, this is one of the best books I've ever read. Meanwhile, when I was 12 years old, I was reading One Direction fan fiction written by someone whose first language was not English on Wattpad, and it was still better written than half of the shit I'm seeing pushed out on Booktok. I'm gonna be the bitch and say it. Some of you need to go back to a high school level literature class because the lack of reading comprehension that I am seeing is scary. Talking about Guild or whatever the fuck it's called is a literary masterpiece. Almost as if when authors are using actual literary devices and, I don't know, nuance, not spelling things out for us like we're first graders, that I see a lot of the sentiment on social media being, it was too confusing and too convoluted. Critical thinking, babes. Learn how to do it. I love a little fun romantasy vibe as much as the next girl. Like, romantasy is one of my favorite genres. However, that does not mean that it has to be poorly written. And I'm just gonna say it, not everyone should have their book published. Sorry, I'm a bitch. Was my delivery nice? No. Do my points still stand? Yes. So let's be clear about what I did and did not say. Did I say that you're not allowed to enjoy the books that you do? No. People, myself included, read for escapism and comfort and fantasy, and that's wonderful. Enjoyment was never the issue. What I said is that not every enjoyable book needs to be framed as a literary masterpiece, and that we need to start holding authors and publishers and content creators to higher standards. Popularity, pleasure, and quality are not the same thing. And when we stop distinguishing between them, standards drop, not just for readers, but for the entire publishing industry. That is how we end up with rushed books, trope-first writing, grammatical errors, AI-written books, and stories optimized for virality instead of craft. Lapsing those categories lowers the bar for what publishers invest in and protect. This is not elitism, it is discernment. And the more shallow that we accept writing to be, the more that it can be easily replaced with AI. Fiction is not just for entertainment, it teaches empathy and history and politics and so many other important things when it's well written. Could I have given the delivery of that video politely? Sure, but do you think 3 million of you would be joining in on this dialogue if I had? If you're still here right now, if you're following me right now, this conversation is for you. Critique is part of loving something. Those of you asking right now, I'm currently rereading Wuthering Heights, obviously ahead of the movie adaptation, and The Courage to be Disliked.
But I see just, pretty viral right now, so I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it by now. But basically that's sort of the gist of it. And the thing is, I kind of agree with her. She could have said it a little bit better, but obviously that's not what's going to get the views, because like she said in her follow-up video, is that it got some people talking, it got a lot of people talking really, and here we are having this conversation about it. But the thing about it is, I think the blame is like 75% publishers and like 25% readers, because at this point it's like some people will read literally anything, even if there's spelling errors, if the tropes are really bad, if stuff is done really bad, like not just within tropes but within the books. Because honestly, there's some, like I saw a comment that says some YA books are better than some of the adult books out there, like in terms of whatever tropes it is, just because they're, maybe because of the publishing, maybe somebody isn't doing their job, like an editor isn't like actually editing for them and just correcting spelling mistakes, and even though some books are just filled with them anyways. But that's the issue that everybody's talking about, right? Is the anti-intellectualism of everything and the reading comprehension. And I think that's just sort of where the problem is. The main focus, I think, is with romantasy. So is romantasy the problem? Is it people saying they want romance and fantasy, but maybe at different times? Maybe they're trying to combine them, and maybe it's just not working out. Even though romantasy is like a super popular, genre right now, it seems like a lot of people are on one side of the coin or the other, whether they like it, whether they hate it. Some people right in the middle. That's kind of where I'm at, is where I'm sort of in the middle, where I enjoy the elements of romantasy, both the romance and the fantasy elements, but it's just a lot of books just aren't done in a really spectacular way, at least in the mainstream media. like mainstream book talk and mainstream books, because there's probably like thousands of BIPOC authors out there that actually made really good romantasy books. It's just nobody's reading them, and nobody's giving them a chance either. Like publishing isn't picking up those books and selling them out to people and promoting a lot of these books, which is like books like Legendborn, for example, by Tracy Dion. It's such a great book. I think I gave it like maybe a 9 out of 10, I think, or like a 4 out of 5. It's a really good book and super interesting. And I have the other two books ready and lined up for me to read. It's just I'm reading other things at the moment, and I'm sort of a mood reader, and I've been on a reading slump and just a whole bunch of stuff. But I really enjoyed that book, and it's just a lot of people still to this day aren't recommending it as much. It's the same things like Throne of Glass, Akatar, Fourth Wing, those basic books. And I read Fourth Wing, and I'm thinking I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, like 7 out of 10. Like, it was a pretty decent book. Like, I cried, but that's because stuff happened, and I currently at the time wasn't medicated. But that's sort of what I think about it. I think it's mainly the genre, is that maybe it's just not working out, even though it's super popular. At the same time, it's just not working out for people. Maybe it's the balance of the two. Maybe some people want more fantasy with like a side quest of like the romance, or maybe more people want romance with the side quest of fantasy. But having to mix those two at like a good level is actually pretty, I would say, kind of hard. But that's the thing, we don't know, because most of these books haven't really been that great. As examples, I guess, even though they're really popular, that doesn't mean that they're always going to be good, right? People always have different tastes. And that's the other thing too, is that it's trying to find people that have read all these different types of books within these genres to find what's actually decent and what's actually good for people, and for people's opinions and things like that. And that's the hard thing, is that every human is different, so everybody's going to be on different levels with this stuff. Like, one thing too, that's why I always recommend people to read diversely, not just diverse in topics, but diverse in like their authors, the genres and stuff like that. Like, if you really like romance, for example, read Black authors, Latin authors, Asian authors, men, women, non-binary. Like, read diversely, because obviously all these stories come from different perspectives. So you're gonna be, more empathetic, enjoying a lot of these stories a lot better, because they're from a different perspective than you. So you can, get into the minds of what these authors are, like how they think, and it just gives you like different ideas and stuff like that, you guys know? So that's why I always say to read diversely within, each genre, not just read different genres. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting confused, is that they think you need to read romance, horror, lit fics, things like that. But it's good to read different types of genres, but also read diversity within those genres themselves. I guess is what I'm trying to come out as, trying to say. So when it comes to romantasy, it's like, it's a big genre, but there aren't that many like really, really good books that people are raving about, because people either aren't writing them, or they aren't being discovered, or at least picked up by a lot of these like mainstream publishers. Which is why I think with all this Booktok drama going on, most of it comes out to like 75% publishing and then 25% readers, because obviously publishers are going to where the readers are, and most of the readers are just going back and doing stuff that's already like super popular. So I think it's up to us as readers just to promote as much like indie authors and different genres and books like that as much as we can, even if we have very like no influence, or as big as influence as you can. Just promote as much as you can. Don't always just post negative stuff about these popular books, because obviously negativity gets views too, but at the same time you're not promoting anything. So that's why I always say, if you're gonna be negative about a certain type of book genre, recommend some books at the same time, so that people will know, hey, if you don't like this author because of this writing or whatever reason, I have this author that's really a really good person. They do write things, and they also write amazing books. So that's just kind of what I'm saying is that a lot of these problems are within, it's mostly publishing, but at the same time, it's also like a reader's, intention and the stuff that they promote. So I'm always trying to see if I can promote other books, trying to read diversely myself, even though sometimes I do fall into the tropes of like, right now I'm reading Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I've read Fourth Wing. And, obviously I'm going to be reading popular books because they're popular for a reason, and I might enjoy them. But I'm also might enjoy like going to the library and just picking up random books by random authors, see if they're good or not. I haven't seen many people really do that, going to the library and just picking up random books that look interesting and showing it off to people, which I enjoy those types of vlogs. I see them and like I said, I enjoy them and I watch them all the time, as much as I can, but not that many people are doing that anymore. So I think what we really need to do is just promote as much as we can, because it seems like a lot of the publishers are just going to be promoting things that are already popular just to get as much money as they can, which obviously I understand. But at the end of the day, everybody needs a chance and not everybody can get that lucky. So I suggest everybody, promote some of these smaller indie authors as much as you can and see if we can get them published. That way there can be more diverse stuff in publishing, and that way they will give people more chance, give other indie authors a chance, and not just going straight to the straight white guy that has a 3-book deal already without even writing a manuscript or something like that. More Booktok drama. But yeah, sorry for the sort of rambling video. It's just there's been a lot of videos on it, and it's been on my mind recently, and this is the first of the type that I'm making of this video. So sorry if there were some mistakes and editing and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and if you guys want more of these or my insights on things, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.